Çatalhöyük. Çatalhöyük is one of the first settlements that we found. Remember, Göbekli Tepe is just a temple. So they would go there maybe once or twice a year for a religious celebration, but then they would leave, okay? Çatalhöyük is where they decided to settle down permanently for decades. Now, in school, you're taught that we started farming because it allowed us to access more food. And so we could grow the population, we would become healthier and stronger, okay? But if you actually dig up bodies of hunter-gatherers as opposed to farmers, what you will realize is, one, hunter-gatherers are taller, a lot taller than farmers. Hunter-gatherers are stronger, live longer, healthier. They have better teeth. Why? Because if you're a farmer, if you're a hunter-gatherer, you have access to lots of different food, right? Meat. And getting the food is actually pretty easy, okay? You can just pick fruit off a tree. As a farmer, you have to work really hard to grow food that's not very nutritious. And often the food is just similar, okay? You're just eating one vegetable, one crop, okay? It's a very limited diet. And also, because of starch, your teeth gets really rotten really fast. Okay? Also, because you're living together in a close quarters, it's really easy for diseases to spread. Okay? So, it's hard for us to appreciate this, but being a hunter-gatherer, it's an easy, happy, healthy life. Being a farmer sucks. So the question then is, why did they become farmers? For religious purposes, right? So that they could settle down and be with their religion. Okay? Be with a charismatic leader. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. So this is Çatalhöyük. This is the religion of the mother goddess, okay? And accompanying the mother goddess is the bull. Okay? Because if you think about it, a woman cannot give birth by herself. She needs a male. And this male god is the bull, who represents virility, energy, strength, okay? So they worship both. And you can see how people are worshiping the bull. This is an image of Çatalhöyük. It's a very sophisticated community. It's also very egalitarian. And each house is a temple unto itself. Okay? So they have these paintings in order to bring in the energy of their gods that they worship. And that's why they want to stay here, because they want to be with their gods, even though it meant a harder life for them. Okay? This is Çatalhöyük. As you can see, it's beautiful. This is what it looks like today. Okay? All right. This is another image rendition of Çatalhöyük. Okay? As you can see, each house is a temple unto itself. And they bury the dead underneath. Okay? So they're trying to practice a religion like here. Okay, as I mentioned, each house is a temple unto itself. And as you can see how each house is elaborately decorated with the bowl, with ornaments to their gods and to the religion. This is a gazelle, so they hunt gazelle for food. But as you can see, it's really a dance, right? So they're hunting the gazelle, but they see it more as a dance, as a celebration. And the reason why is, at this time in history, we feel an obligation to the animals we killed. We have to thank the animals that we killed. We have to celebrate the animals we killed in order to maintain balance and harmony in the world. Okay, it's almost like a contract. Before you can kill animals, you need to pray to the gods and ask for permission. After you kill the animals, you must thank the animals for sacrificing their bodies to you so you can eat. Okay? All right? You guys got it? All right. So let's go over the pattern of human settlements. Okay? And I need you guys to remember how this process works. So let's look at how Çatalhöyük came together, and I'll explain to you why it fell apart. Again, you have a charismatic leader who has a messianic vision. He takes us to this place and says, this is where the gods are. This is divine place. And let's settle down here. And as such, we can bring heaven to earth. And then they become a creative, artistic community. Okay? And they often choose a place where the climate is very nice. And that allows them to farm, to supplement they're hunt and gatherer, okay? And over time, as the population grows, they become much more dependent on farming, okay? So it's a gradual process. It doesn't happen overnight. In the early days, there's lots of social mobility in that all leaders are elected. And also, it's very egalitarian, okay? Does that make sense? But over time, the system breaks down. What happens? Well, first thing that happens is because of overpopulation, there's too much stress on the environment, and so you have the land, you're not able to grow as much on the land. Then you have climate change happening as well, okay? Another big issue is that the hierarchy becomes hereditary. Before, the leaders were elected. Now, they are just inherited, okay? And this leads to corruption, where the elite bully and exploit everyone else. And people forget the memories of the first days. And so what do? People just get up and they leave, okay? You understand? You can always choose to leave. And so if you don't like the community anymore, you and your family just get up and you go to another place to build a new community based on your principles, okay? All right, so based on today's lecture, I want you to remember 3 things about how we humans come together in a community, okay? And these 3 basic principles are almost like laws. I want you to remember them, and then these laws will help you better understand how societies rise and fall, okay? The first important principle I want you to remember is societies are fluid and dynamic. They're always changing over time, okay? They're never still. Second thing is that diversity within societies is greater than across societies. So another way of saying this is, yes, there's a conflict between the United States and China. But actually, if you actually look at differences in diversity, the difference in diversity within China is greater than the difference between China and the United States. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. And the third law is communities exist in opposition to each other. Okay, so think about the cities in China. Okay, Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Chengdu, Xi'an, they're all different. Why? Because they want to be different from each other, okay? But also within Beijing, you have Haidian, Chaoyang, Xicheng, different districts, right? They're all different from each other because they want to be different, okay? So these 3 laws will help us better understand how societies form, thrive, and ultimately die.